Hello, good evening everybody. Good evening everybody. This is Rotarian Hasif Shaib Chaudhary, Joint Secretary of Rotary Club Cox's Bazar Shoykot and TRF Cadet Advisor here. We welcome you to our first Rotary Area of Focus Talk. In observance of September as Rotary Basic Education and Literacy Month. Now I would request our past President and TRF Cadet Advisor, Rotarian Mr. Jalaluddin Mahmood Shoaib, who is also the chair of today's event, to deliver his welcome speech. Mr. Jalaluddin Mahmood Shoaib, our Honorable Rotarian.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Very good evening, honorable guests and fellow Rotarians of Cox's Bazar Shoykot and from India and Melbourne. I, on behalf of all the Rotarians of Rotary Club of Cox's Bazar Shoykot, welcome you in this today's discussion. The Teach a Mother, Change the World is the theme of our discussion today, and the deliberation will be given by Mrs. Tanyss Munro of Amarok Society of Canada. It is the family-initiated society devoted to scaling up education among the women and children at large. Ladies and gentlemen, at present, where we are standing in this context, as a whole, the vast majority of our society believe that girls need not to be educated, or if any, it is to be the second option in our lifestyle. Large population of our community are not interested on scaling up the girls in education, health, or any other facilities of the society. In general, the social fabrics are changing due to the changing of an environment in different magnitude and areas. The large population of our community are not aware of what we have to do for the education. Then, the members of the community and of the interrelations is also changing with the dynamics of information technology. To me, existing situation in our society perspective, the value of humanity, perseverance, the passion, and the value of to each other, legacy and wisdom is in a very severe state. We are drowning in a very deep cleavage of misdeeds and misunderstanding among ourselves and among the societies and in the different stratification. The values of mankind superimposed by the marks of or the debris of inhumanity and misperceptions of social values. Therefore, I firmly believe that these circumstances arose from our family that is uneducated, our mother. So, at this point, I can quote the Netaji Subhash Bose: "Give me educated mother, I will give you a bright and prosperous India." In general, the fellow Rotary, to build a prospective nation, definitely we need educated mother. Amarok is doing the noble job, and we are lucky that we can hear from her today. Thank you very much, Tanyss. By this, can we promise to value our girls or mothers? Can we set our wisdom on legacy? Can we nurture our family in respect of the education or the better lifestyle to live on? So we should not forget the family is the nucleus of a society and a nation. Values to others, tolerance to next door, accommodation to multi-sector will guide us to with a livable world, livable society or the home. I hope we will learn how to do with others. once again, as I came to know about the Tanyss Munro and her family, Gem, they are very much devoted from their life to life. The whole family is dedicated to the education of the women and the children. I again, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Commonwealth Society, welcome to all the guests, the Rotarians on board. I hope you will enjoy and make a difference. Best regards to all, and best wishes to all, everybody. Allah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Honorable Fellow. Now I would like to request Rotarian Ruba Chaudhary to introduce our guest speaker, Dr. Tanyss Munro, co-founder and director of Amarok Society from Canada. Ruba Chaudhary.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Dr. Tanyss Munro has devoted her life with her husband, Author Gem Munro, to improve opportunities for disadvantaged people. Dr. Munro obtained her PhD in international education under a combined special program of 3 institutions: University of Harvard in USA, along with University of Saskatchewan and Bern University from Canada. Through her work as educator with the remote troubled indigenous communities, as a senior advisor to federal ministers in the Canadian government, and as director of good governance with the Commonwealth, she has had the privilege of living in and getting to know life from the centers of power to some of the poorest and most overlooked communities in the world. In response to observing the impact of no education for millions of the world's poorest children, she and her husband founded Amarok Society in 2006 in the slums of Bangladesh and have partnered with Rotary Clubs to the benefit of the communities they serve. Currently, Amarok Society is running 3 schools in Cox's Bazar, jointly with Rotary Club of Cox's Bazar Shoykot, Rotary Club of Cox's Bazar City, and Innerville Club of Cox's Bazar. They are running 23 schools in Bangladesh. The unique methods they use to get education to the children of these slums are proved to be highly effective. For their work, Tanyss and her husband Gem were awarded the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medals. The Munros are blessed with 4 children: Alastair, Asian, Gabriel, and Grace.
Thank you, Honorable Rotarian Ruba Chaudhary. Now I would request to our Honorable Club President and also a TRF Cadre member, Cadre Advisor, Rotarian Hasnain Sabih Naik to moderate the session. Honorable President.
Thank you, Rotarian Hasib Chaudhary. And the way we plan to go about it is we will share the screen and Dr. Tanyss Munro, she has some slides to share with us, and then she describes how she went through the journey, and still it's on, the journey has not ended, so she will be sharing her experiences with us, and then we'll open the floor for question and answer discussion. So that's the format. So let's try to share the screen, and then Tanyss will take over. Okay.
Lovely. Okay. Well, to begin with, let me just say good evening, honorable Rotarians from really many continents around the world, and esteemed guests. It's such a privilege to be here and to be able to share with you what we do, and also knowing that already we are working with so many of you. it's just a great privilege to have this evening to discuss during, you know, literacy and basic education, which is what we do during September, which is the month of celebration for that for So this is a photo of simply what we do, and with our 3 schools in Cox's Bazar, if you were to walk in to one of the schools, this is what you would see is 25 mothers sitting in a small area and reading and writing. Today, we don't have all 25 together because of COVID, so it's only 7 or 8 or 9 together. Our system is that every mother teaches 5 children. So if you could please go to the next slide, we can see what that looks like. And they're like micro schools. Each mother teaches 5 children, and usually on a bed, just like this. And this way the children learn to read and write. And every child so far has gained their full primary education and gone on to secondary, and as far as we know, every child has graduated from secondary. Many have gone to college, many have gone to university and graduated. So the system, it really is effective and really does work. And these children are changed forever, coming from nothing, illiteracy, and being able to graduate from upper education. And then if you could please go to the next slide, it's just a photo of a group of women standing, but a very important part of the mother's duty when she comes to our school is to then talk to neighbor mothers, and she talks to them about hygiene, about health, about conflict mitigation, especially during COVID. You know, there's a lot more crises and conflict and fighting and arguments in houses everywhere, from Canada to the slums of Cox's Bazar. It's a time of difficulty for people. Our mothers have done what they can even in this time, and I'll tell you more about that later. But pre-COVID also, it was about telling the mothers all these things: how to mitigate conflict, how to reduce it, gender rights, child rights, and that sort of thing, and even child development, and bringing up a child in a way that was very nourishing. So when we first started, I remember in one of the schools in Dhaka, in the slums of Dhaka, we were filming a mother teaching the 5 children, and the normal way for people of that sort of social class anywhere around the world, whether it's Bangladesh or Canada or United States or Australia, it doesn't matter, India, at that level of education, what a mother will often do is cuff the child on the head, just bang them on the head if they don't get the right answer, you know, or sort of push them or punch them a little bit if they don't get the right answer. That's how they would bring children up. And so they've now found out about the proper way of child development with love and with encouragement and with respect. And it's made a really profound difference in their families also. So the mothers don't keep what they have learned to themselves, they've shared it with neighbors, with husbands, with their in-laws. So if you could please go to the next slide. Apart from reading and writing, the normal, that's what we would expect mothers to do, their changes have been profound as well. These, like this little girl now, will grow up because gender relations have changed. This little girl will grow up and her daddy will be encouraging her to go to school and get an education. And before any education for these families, as the Rotarian said who was giving the introduction here, that's not the normal thing. The normal thing was girls and women don't need an education. And now these little girls are so excited about that. If you could please go to the next slide. The other thing is many of the mothers, actually probably 90% of our mothers have either created jobs or started to work for somebody beyond cleaning somebody's house. So they've gone beyond that. Some of them have purchased sewing machines and do tailoring. Some of them chop wood and sell the wood. Many things. Many of them, they grow vegetables and sell the vegetables, or they join their husband in his business. Many different examples of business, and so income has gone up for the family, which is great. If you could please go to the next slide. I'm going to tell you a story about Kuntal, who is just our wonderful, I didn't tell him about this, he's our wonderful country director. He's getting nervous now, because what am I going to say? So I remember in the very beginning, we were walking down a street, and Kuntal has been with us since 2008, I think, or around there. And he's just been fantastic. And we were talking to another person, and the other person only spoke Bangla. And at that point, my Bengali was a little bit better than it is now. It's never, ever been good. But in any case, I was telling this person what we do, and I said, we teach mothers to become neighborhood teachers, and one of the things that will happen as a result, we're predicting that gender relations will change and that husbands will start to have respect for their wives. And Kuntal was translating it, but I thought something was missing. And I said, Kuntal, did you say respect for the wives? And Kuntal looked at me and he said, no, Tanyss, not respect. We don't, this isn't something that happens with these people. That they don't, the husbands won't respect the wives. And and I just thought, oh my gosh, we really will. We really will bring those changes about. And it's not that we do, it's that the mothers do. And now Kuntal, everybody would agree that really the wives are in a position to, now they give advice to their husbands. They are, they go into business with their husbands. We've had many mothers whose husbands, many wives whose husbands have wanted to go and get a business loan, and the wife says, no, let's start off the business small. Don't go for a big one. We start it off small, and we'll build it up a little bit, and we don't ever need to get a loan. Our mothers have had a profound influence in the future of the family. And so that really is a big change, that even in those days, it was hard for Kuntal and other smart people to actually see that. Our mothers have been catalysts of massive change. If you could please go to the next slide. As everybody here knows, of course, child marriage is a real thing. This is a snapshot of the children of one of the 3 schools in Cox's Bazar, and I wasn't sure which one. But in you don't know which one, do you, Kuntal? But it doesn't matter. You're on mute, but that's okay. It's one of the 3. It might be the Shoikat school. In any case, when we look at the faces of these little girls and little boys, now we can know for sure that every one of them is getting an education from a neighborhood mother, and none of them will be getting married when they're 12, 13, 14 years old. They're all going to wait, and they're all going to get an education. In every single school in Dhaka and Khulna, all but 2 schools have had no child marriages for over 2 years. Not one. When our mothers hear about a child marriage starting, they go right over and they talk to the parents. And if the parents don't agree to stop the wedding, then they'll go and ask the officials at the office to come over and help them. And then the wedding stops. They do it in a nice way. It's not threatening. The mothers can say, look, I was married when I was 12, and I'm not letting that happen to my daughter. And I'm not letting my son get married when he's 14. You see, so it's done in a very nice way, very effective, because the mothers have come from that. They really understand. If you could please move to the next slide. This is a photo just of some of the mothers in at the counselor of the Metropolitan City office in Dhaka, and you know, they were coming here in order to talk about the power. The power was out for a lot of the time in one of the slums in Dhaka, you know, a brownout. And these mothers said, we will not vote for you. We will not vote for the counselor, and we will, you know, not be happy if you don't give us more power every day. And They have had cooperation anytime they've come in. They've come in to ensure that potholes are filled. They've come in to demand that better sidewalks be built above the water line in the monsoon. These mothers have changed things way beyond themselves and their families. It's been for the whole neighborhood. And they would never have believed that they could do this before coming in. They were afraid almost of their own shadows. And now they're going out and making big improvements and changes in a way they couldn't have imagined possible. They've become much bigger people. We can also see long-term changes. If you could please go to the next slide, even in just looking at this little game of the boys. So these boys, the boy at the end here, but several of the boys here, not all of them, but several of them are part of the little micro schools with the mothers and the 5 children. And the boys now and the girls, when they play games, they have more organization in their games, you see. Before it was just finding whatever they could on the road and playing something, but they didn't have much in their heads in terms of how to play an organized, competitive, fun game. And even now, see, their minds have changed forever. They're thinking more logically, more analytically, even when they have just fun games on their free time. Their brains are actually working in a different way than they otherwise would have been. So the changes are, you know, really have been permanent, forever changes. And these boys will also, we expect that every one of them will graduate from secondary, many will go on to college, and many will go on to university. If you could please move to the next slide. The other thing is, and just the one before that, that's right. So this is a woman, Nazma is her name, and she's standing in what used to be a garbage dump in Dhaka, okay, and out the side behind her hut, and is surrounded by lots of other slum dwellings, but there's a whole lot of garbage. So she asked her neighbors, is it okay if I clear this place? And she did this about October, November, and they said, oh, go ahead. And she said, I want to plant vegetables. So she started to plant vegetables, and here we can see a bit of it is still flooded when she's starting, but she's starting to plant the vegetables. And this spring, she's had many, many vegetables grow up, and she shares them not only with her neighbors, and then she sells some in front of her house. But the other thing that Nazma and many, many, many mothers have done in the slums where the schools are established, have been there for a while, is they are making sure that nobody in their neighborhood starves. And I don't know if it's the same in Cox's Bazar, but maybe, I think so. I know that there's food shortages in Cox's Bazar. In Dhaka and in Khulna, there's very real risk of starvation, you know. And our mothers are looking out in their communities to make sure that if there's one family that's risking starvation to death, they will do whatever they need to. They go here and they borrow an onion from this person and a potato and some rice over here, and they take it discreetly. Or there's another mother whose husband, she and her husband sell vegetables. And one of the things they do is they ask people, because it's a slightly better neighborhood they go and sell, they ask people for money, for donations, to go and get more vegetables for the starving people. And the husband at first said, oh no, people will think I'm begging. And she said, you do it. It's so important that we have nobody starving. And now every time they're buying old vegetables, vegetables that are almost expired, and they give them to the very poorest people in the slums. So the mothers have a really strong moral sense of needing to take care of other people, which is fantastic given that they themselves were so poor to begin with and are not, they're still poor, but they're now becoming benefactors rather than people who take things. They're actually becoming people who can give things. If you could please go to the next slide. If we look at this slide, we can see that, you know, every single one of these children is learning. This photo happened to have been taken in Khulna. We didn't have one in Cox's Bazar just because we haven't been there for, you know, a whole lot since COVID. But every one of these children will be going on to higher education, and it's all sustainable in that when children learn, just like when adults learn how to read and write and how to take care of other people, it's not something that can be unlearned. So they don't fall backward. Now, there's no more photos to go with what else I'm going to talk about, so you could take the PowerPoint down. I'll just tell you a couple of other things. And that is, we're working now with the Rotary Club of Dryden in Ontario and Kenora in Ontario and a few clubs in Winnipeg on a district grant. And although with a district grant, as you know, you don't need a partner, but you are their partner. They're looking forward to meeting the Rotarians from the Rotary Club of Shoykat, and of course Inner Wheel as well, but Shoykat will be the lead on it. And in order to look for permanent sponsorship for your school for many, many years to come. And then after that, we're looking at a global grant with Arizona, with the whole, Arizona has, I think, 2 or 3 districts. And with one of the districts, they would like to do a global grant with us. We're completing a global grant right now, which Kuntal could tell you about later. We're waiting for Midtown Dhaka to complete a grant before we can move on to another one. But he's working on completing that now. Our Arizona grant would be to really expand some of our technology like smartphones and so on, so that we can reach the teachers and provide more support without always needing to be in Cox's Bazar, and as well so that teachers are able to get materials and resources when they need it without us traveling or them traveling as much. So that would be part of it, including learning games and that sort of thing is part of that grant. We're a little ways away from that right yet. The first thing that we're expecting to materialize is the district grant. So by focusing on more distance training and support of our teachers, we expect to be able to have the Cox's Bazar schools, getting all the support without us necessarily being there. And as you can see with the Amarok mothers, they're taking sustainability to a whole new level by spreading it out, going much beyond themselves and their families and making a big difference, so that the ripple effect of the mothers learning has caused not only the mothers, but the children and other people in the communities to become really thoughtful, caring, contributing citizens of their neighborhoods and of Cox's Bazar and ultimately of Bangladesh. And with that, and it's a real privilege for us to be partnering with you. And with that, I close my presentation, and I'm happy to take some questions.
Thank you, Tanyss. So now go for the question and answer session. Whoever has any question to Dr. Tanyss Munro can unmute yourself and then ask the question. Yes. Our past president Jalaluddin has a question.
I am past president Rotarian Jalaluddin Bishwe. The discussions I enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Tanyss Munro. I have I want to know some clarifications. You see, the slums is not only the problem of the education. They have the health, they have the habitats, and everything is there. So it's very difficult to go the one way. How you just addresses all those other things on the way to the education.
Thank you. So what we do is we really think that education is at the source of all the issues. Without education, nothing can improve, even if it's a new house or a new well or anything else. Without education, there's not going to be sustainable change. So we really just focus on the education, and then through that, what we have seen is that the mothers improve their standard of living and to us, it's not a problem that they stay in the slums. We don't want mothers. Like, one of the reasons, if we were to have taught fathers rather than mothers, the fathers would go and they'd take that education and get a better job and move the family out of the slum. We would prefer the mothers who stay there and help to make everybody's lives better. And then, yes, some of them move away, some of them stay there and just make a better life and see their children go on to college and university. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. I have just a curiosity. So, that how did you come to or land at the idea of one mother teaches 5 children? So, how did you get to that number?
So we in the very beginning, we first of all wanted to make a difference, and the first thing that Gem and I did is we started to teach schools of children. We just did it ourselves. We started to teach 50 children at a time, and we thought, well, we're not going to make any difference. This will take a long time for a country with the population of Bangladesh to make a difference. We have to use something that multiplies what we do. So that's when we decided to go to mothers to teach the children, and that puts mothers at the center of it. Why 5, not 6 or 4? We thought 4 just wasn't really quite enough, and 5 seemed to be something that they could do. So it wasn't scientific. But some of them teach 5, or 6, I should say, but most teach 5, and 5 just seems to be a number that works well for them in the unscientific way.
Okay. So, bringing in 5 stars.
That's right.
Okay. So, anybody else? Mr. Mahmoudul Hassan from New York. Okay. So after Mahmoudul Hassan, I would like to go for Dr. Nafisa Haq. Mahmoudul Hassan, please unmute yourself and then ask the question. Unmute yourself. So Mahmoudul Hassan. Okay, Dr. Nafisa, you can.
Good evening, Tanyss. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah. So fine, thank you. So I have a question. So you know now, like mental health, the need for mental health is getting great momentum in the world, and I just wanted to know if you have any plans of educating the mothers on some features of basic development centered around children growth. And I know that you did mention that I think you did give the mothers a primary understanding of how they should deal with the children and how they should show respect to the children and not just bash them on their heads if they don't get any correct answers. But I just wonder if you have any plans of formalizing this a little more, where the mothers can learn more about the developmental stages of children and the needs for nutrition during the developmental years, especially up to the age of 5 years. And if we could also go around teaching the children some of the basic things about life other than what they will be learning when they go to school, like the need to make their environment sustainable and how to learn to manage stress.
Really great. Why don't I start from the end, and I'll go back to what you said in the beginning. So starting with stress, because that's a top of mind thing with COVID. And we don't have anything that's set in terms of stress. We don't have a stress curriculum or anything. I'll just say that what has happened is that not only the mothers, but several of the children, or the older children who are now in secondary school or college, have noticed a lot of stress with children, other children in the neighborhood, or also sometimes with the elderly in the neighborhood because of COVID. And they have now started to do things. So with children, there's a number of teenagers, college students and secondary students who hold games with a group of 10 or 15 children every day, so that the children have something to focus on, something to look forward to when there's not enough food, when there's conflict in their house. So they have intervened in those ways. We don't have anything set that way. In terms of child development, we do, the course that we are teaching them now with child development is one that was, we went into partnership with a health center in Toronto, Canada, to develop that, and they've worked in other places too around the world. And that's been very effective. We are certainly open to more ideas and that sort of thing. Our expertise is in education, not so much in health, but of course having health input is good, and especially to cover some of the things that are not covered in the curriculum of the regular school when they get full-time in that. We'd be very welcome. We would welcome discussion about that. You know, if there's other people who would like to provide some input that we could pass on, that would be great.
Yeah, thank you, Tanyss. And just one more, I think this is not going to be a question and more of an opinion. Like, if there's any way we could form a link, a continuous circle with the students that you are teaching in your program, and students going out, and if there's any way to form like an alumni association, so that even if they go out, somehow they're still linked to their community, and those that go on to do really well, they can come back and contribute something to the place and to the people living in the place that they came out from.
Absolutely. I think that's such a great idea. We do that now, but it's informal. So we lose some, some we don't get. I think that's a terrific idea, and I would very much like to discuss that after. Really great. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Nafisa. Mahmoudul Hassan. Thank you. Yes. Go ahead with your question or comment.
It's a nice meeting. I'm from New York, and the past president of Cox's Bazar Shaker. So I came to know from you the details of your program. But due to COVID, how you're continuing your program now? That is one question. Number two, second question also I'm giving. Second suggestion. There's one resource person from New York, our good friend Dr. Maksud, the Patsy. So I think there can be some cooperation between your organization, Patsy, and Cox's Bazar Shaker, because you are focusing on mother and children and a little bit of sanitation hygiene, which you spoke right now. So they are working on the same program with our Cox's Bazar Club. So Mr. Maksud can participate. This is our idea. Both of you can cooperate from New York, Vancouver, Cox's.
That's great. That sounds really good. Okay, very, very good. We'll be happy to link with him and have discussions with him. That'd be very good. And how we're doing things now with COVID is our schools are no longer open to 25 mothers at a time. We only have, all of our schools are rented. They're rented from dwellings. We don't build them. All of the money goes to teaching. So we have between 7 and 9 mothers in a school at a time. That's all. And then we do shorter shifts that they all get in a few times a week. And the mothers, when they're teaching the groups of 5 children, it's also in shifts of groups of 2 and groups of 3, depending on who the children are. Thank you.
We have that Tanyss referred to Mr. Tanyss Munro, the Bangladesh Country Director of Amarok Society. So if he would add to what is presented, would you please unmute yourself and give your input? Please unmute yourself. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening to all the honorable Rotarians, and I am really delighted to be present here and joining you in this today. And I don't have much to express because my international country director, Dr. Tanyss Munro, has nicely explained what and is doing now. There are something I can add is that our school was closed for last 3 months, April, May, June, sometime like this, because that time the COVID situation was very bad. But after that, from in August, it is open now, but it's opened in groups, like every day, 2 groups at school, that all the mothers can sit in space. And also, mothers are trying not to sit with all 5 children together, as their house is very tiny and small. So they are trying to see 2 children together, then 3 children together in adjusting time and all these things. And I know that it is has explained. Cox's Bazar Shoykot is doing wonderful work, and if you go there in this fishery guard in your school where the mother is teaching children and doing their work, I know that you will be very delighted and happy. Because now we are moving in Dhaka, we are moving in Toronto or USA, many other places that we don't have opportunity. But whoever has the opportunity has time, has some time, please go and see. You will find many of the answers. Maybe Tanyss not need to answer you and give you what is happening, what is going on, and why. You will find many answers. So, thank you very much for inviting me and giving me opportunity to share. And it is really wonderful. I don't know many of you. I don't know who is translating the present president. I have not seen present president. I have not seen him, but I feel really touched that with Nagbai and many other people. And I must mention the name of my dear senior friend. Who is he? You know who is he in Cox's Bazar? When I go, he guides me all the time. All the time he guides me. Do you know who is he? Because Mr. Who is he? Nagbhai, who guides me in Cox's Bazar?
Mr. Rahman. Or we want to
Mr. Shafiqur Rahman. I think Mr. Shafiqur Rahman.
Shafiqur Rahman. He's my teacher there. Whenever I have any problem or anything, he guides me, he helps me, and all the times, all the things. I'm grateful to you all, and a special thanks to Rigbai. Special thanks. Yeah, thank you very much.
Past President Muhammad Shafiqur Rahman. So he has been really taking care of the whole activities of Amarok Society in Cox's Bazar with other 2 clubs as well, the Rotary Club of Cox's Bazar City and Minavil Club of Cox's Bazar. So now I would like to request Muhammad Shafiqur Rahman, past president, to say a few words. So ভাই আপনি আনমিউট করে বলেন। জোরে বলতে হবে। হ্যাঁ, টিকেটটা হাতে মুখের কাছে আছে।
Muhammad Shafiqur Rahman, past president of Bazar Shoykot. Hi, Tanyss, how are you?
Fine, how are you? Thank you.
How are you? I am fine. You also fine. COVID-19 is a disturb to ours, nothing more. Any plan? You have any plan to extend any school, more school at Cox's?
Yes, we would like to definitely open up more in Cox's Bazar. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Your 3 school is running smoothly. One is Inner Boler and another is City, and Cox's Bazar Shoykot also is a very tremendous performance. So thank you, for very grateful to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. there is a saying that wise men think alike. So, and if you want to add one more tagline to it, which is fools seldom differ. Okay, so just few minutes back, our past president Mahmoudul Hassan has mentioned about possible collaboration between PETC and Rotary Club of Cox's Shoykot and Amarok. So Dr. Maksud Chaudhary, who is one of the founders of PETC program, so he is with us. If he could say a few words. Dr. Maksud Chaudhary.
He is also our new member. He is mentioned.
Yes. Dr. Maksud Chaudhary, please.
Hi, good morning, good evening.
Hi.
Thank you. It's a very excellent presentation, and I like it the way they are working. Basically, this is really we need to do all together. Because you're doing education part, I'm always trying to do the health. So health education both goes together, because a person is not healthy, you cannot educate the person. So that is our main target. If a child is 5 years old, you have to send him to school or educate him, but he's not healthy. So that's why we started a program called School Health Monitoring System in Developing Countries with Minimum Resource. Suppose you have no resource in Cox's Bazar, there's no doctor, no nurse. How you can work without a doctor and nurse there? And but we have to monitor the child who is 5 years or 6 years old, is going to school, but his health is not maintaining well. So that's why we make a modified guideline, and we just made it. There is the idea is that we train the teachers, we train the whoever surrounding the child how to monitor it. So that way we can then would upload it in the system. Then we'll see that this child is having dental problem. We'll arrange that. This child has an eye problem. He cannot see. Like last year when I went to Bangladesh, one of the schools, the teacher said, thank you very much. You started this program. What happened? He said in Raujan actually in Chittagong. So they said the child the performance was very poor. So we were used to shout at him, we called our parents, why this child is not doing, maybe you are not taking care of this child. So ultimately they did a screening test who showed them, because Bimal is here, Bimal is ophthalmologist, he knows very well. So this child having a significant visual problem, he cannot see well. So they found it by doing screening. So then they call us, this is the 3 of the kids having eye problem, but he's otherwise healthy, he's running around. He's not doing on the educational part. So, and he got glasses. After the glasses, he's doing great. So this is simple example. There's a lot of things, the same thing is going on in the children, their nutritional part, their vaccination, immunization part. In the family members like mother's nutrition, the health education. She needs, if she knows a little bit some health education, how to wash the hand, she might teach the children too. This sort of thing we are. This is our basic concept. That's why we have an organization. We start this organization in 2012. It's Pediatric Education Development Society International. Basically, I am a pediatrician practicing in New York, and actually I'm a teacher also here. I'm the professor in New York. So that is the idea. We just trying to give the places wherever they need it for education. So that's why we are a lot of programs. We are already collaborating, working like a volunteer student Bangladesh. Volunteer student Bangladesh is basically very similar like your program they are doing, but the school based. It's not the they don't go to the slum area to collect the kids and all this thing. Another organization I have also collaboration with the DCI, District Children International. Their project a little bit similar to your project. And then other organization we started working with the collaboration with Rotary Club or Bangladesh. And I think we can work together. I think this is a great opportunity, because if you have already people around the area. So our job will be just train the people and making a networking. So that way, our main target is a healthy population, healthy and educated person which can contribute to the community. That is our main target. So you are educating, you're giving some guide, and we'll give a health monitoring system. That way we can work together.
That sounds very good, and we will be very interested in seeing what's possible. And I'm going to leave my email in the chat so that it's easy to get and we can connect. That would be great for anybody.
That will be great. I would like to sorry. I would like to mention that if you see at my back that it reads Rotary opens opportunities. So that is the theme for this year, 2020-21. So actually, say Amarok has got 23 schools and some more will be coming up, I hope. So if we can just take care of those 23 schools, and if I'm not very mistaken, most of the schools are located in the slums areas.
All of them.
All of them. So they are the people who need it the most as far as health services or health status is concerned. So I think there is a very good opportunity, possibility to work together and make something really, really great happen. Okay. So thank you very much, Dr. Chaudhary. And so thank you very much for being with us. And now we have Aisha Siddiqa, who is one of the teachers of our 3 schools. So she is with us with some of her women students. So Aisha Siddiqa, আপনি একটু বলেন। আপনি একটু দেখান। হ্যাঁ।
মধ্যমনিয়াছড়া রোটারি সৈকত ওমেন স্কুল, এই স্কুলে 25 জন মহিলা ছাত্রী আছে। ওনারা প্রত্যেকেই প্রতিদিন পড়তে আসে। আমি সপ্তাহে 5 দিন করে পড়াই। শুক্র শনি স্কুল বন্ধ থাকে। বিকেল 2টা থেকে 4টা পর্যন্ত ওদেরকে পড়ানো হয়। আবার প্রত্যেক মায়েরা 5 জন বাচ্চাদেরকে পড়ায়। অনেক মা আছে বাসা বাড়িতে কাজ করে, অনেকে আছে সেলাই মেশিন নিয়ে কাজ করে, আবার আমার এই স্কুলে লেখাপড়াও করে। মহিলারা সবাই খুব দরিদ্র। আমারক সোসাইটি স্কুলে পড়ে, সবাই খুশি। ধন্যবাদ।
আপনি একটু দেখাতে পারবেন ওই যে যারা আছেন?
জি জি।
ক্যামেরাটা ঘুরিয়ে একটু দেখান। আপনি একটু কথা বলতে থাকেন, নাহলে দেখা যাবে না। আয়শা সিদ্দিকা, কথা বলে দেখান আপনি, আপনার সঙ্গে যারা আছেন। কথা বলতে হবে আয়শা সিদ্দিকা। হ্যাঁ, একটু কথা বলে আপনি ওদেরকে পরিচয় করিয়ে দেন।
আপনি বলেন, ওখানে কতজন আছে আপনার ব্যাগে রেখে বলতে থাকেন, তাহলে ভালো করে দেখাতে পারবেন।
এখানে
হ্যাঁ,
উনি মনিরা বেগম, ওই বাচ্চা আছে ওর, মনিরা বেগম। আর রেহানা আক্তার, ও হলো হাসিনা বেগম। আমিনা বেগম, মৌসুমী ওর নাম বেগম, ওর নাম জুহরা বেগম, ওর নাম শারমিন আক্তার, ওর নাম মরিয়ম বেগম।
ওদের নাম বলতে বলো না।
ঠিক আছে, অনেক ধন্যবাদ। আমরা ঠিক আছে, আপনারা সবাই ভালো থাকেন, আমাদের সঙ্গে থাকেন। We have with us Mrs. Shilpa Paul, President of Rotary Clubs of India. So I would like to request her to say a few words. আনমিউট করে বলেন।
নমস্কার, শুভ সন্ধ্যা। আমি শিল্পী পাল, রোটারি ক্লাব অফ কক্সবাজারের ভারপ্রাপ্ত প্রেসিডেন্ট। আমরা সভাপতি এবং টেনিস মুনরোকে অনেক ধন্যবাদ এরকম একটা অনুষ্ঠান আমাদের সাথে মানে শেয়ার করার জন্য। আমরা আপনাদের আমারক সোসাইটি মাধ্যমে আমরা যে আপনারা ইনারভিল ক্লাবকে যে সুযোগটা দিয়েছেন যে 25 জন মহিলাকে আমরা মাদেরকে শিক্ষা দিচ্ছি, সেটা আমরা সম্পূর্ণ তদারকি করছি এবং আমাদের সাথে সর্বোত্তম সহযোগিতা করছেন কুন্তলদা, তিনিও আমাদের সাথে মাঝে মধ্যে যোগাযোগ করছেন। এবং আমরা মায়েদেরকে যদি পরবর্তীতে আরো অনেক শিক্ষিত করে তুলতে পারি তাহলে এই সমাজের অনেক মানে শিক্ষিত হারটা বেড়ে যাবে।
আমি একটু ইন্টারফেয়ার করি, সরি। আপনার পাশে মেবি কোনো ডিভাইস আছে যেটার কারণে কথা ইকো হচ্ছে, আমরা ক্লিয়ার শুনতে পাচ্ছি না।
আচ্ছা, এবার শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
এখন বেটার, এখন বেটার।
থ্যাংক ইউ প্লিজ
বলেন।
হ্যাঁ, বলছিলাম তো যে মায়েরা পরবর্তীতে আরো অনেক যদি শিক্ষা পায় তারা মানে অনেক শিক্ষিত হতে পারবেন এবং আমরাও তাদেরকে যথেষ্ট সহযোগিতা করতে পারবো। আপনাদের সহযোগিতা সবার কাম্য। এভাবে যদি আমাদের সমাজের যদি আমরা অবহেলিত মহিলারা যারা আছেন তাদেরকে আমরা শিক্ষিত হার মানে করতে পারি, তাহলে আমাদের প্রত্যেকের মারা শিক্ষিত যদি হয় তাহলে পৃথিবীকে অনেক আলোকিত করে তুলতে পারবে মনে হয় আমরা সেটা। কারণ মা শিক্ষিত হলে 5টা শিশু অবশ্যই একজন মা তার শিশুদেরকে শিক্ষা দান করতে পারবে। নিজের ঘরেই তো অন্তর্পক্ষে মা যদি লেখাপড়া জানে তার সন্তানদেরকে সে নিজেই তখন মানে শিক্ষা দিতে পারবে। আমাদের সেটাই ধারণা। আমারক সোসাইটি এবং ইনারভিল ক্লাব প্লাস রোটারিয়ান সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ জানিয়ে আমি আজকে এখানে শেষ করছি।
ধন্যবাদ। ইনফ্যাক্ট বলা হয়ে থাকে যে যে কোনো পরিবারের প্রথম শিক্ষক, শিশুদের জন্য প্রথম শিক্ষক কিন্তু তার মা। সেটা আপনাকে কি বর্ণ শেখাচ্ছেন বা অন্য কিছু শেখাচ্ছেন সেটা অন্য প্রসঙ্গ, কিন্তু প্রথম শিক্ষক কিন্তু মা। Be it manners or letters, whatever, in most of the cases the mother used to be the first teacher for a child. So that is quite important. Yeah. Okay. So we have some of our friends from India and places. So Rotarian Samir with us. So I'd like to request him to say a few words.
Am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you for giving me this scope. Really, we are enriched with the way they are teaching the children. And IPP Innerville President very rightly said that without the education of mother, no child can be educated properly. So the education of mother is very essential. At the same time, education of children, the way she is doing from Canada is really praiseworthy. I wish we could have done some projects with her in India also. If she can also assist us or we can be of some help to her for organizing this type of schools in India, we will be really helpful and thankful. So if I get her email address, I'll communicate with her in the latter course of time, and I'll be really thankful to her if some sort of organizations like this can be opened in India. Can we do that, ma'am?
Yes, in fact, that would be of great interest to us. My email is in the chat box, and we would like to be able to do that. What slowed us down this year is COVID, as you would know as Rotarians. It's slowed down fundraising a great deal, but we've always intended to, in one of the urban slums, not in a rural village, in an urban slum in India, partner with the Rotary Club and open up a couple of schools in India also. We would very much like to do that. Yeah, and you know, one of the reasons is because most of our support is from North America and also some from the UK. And many older people, it tends to be people 50 and up, 45 and up, they're afraid to go to, you know, the slums of Bangladesh because it's harder to get into Bangladesh, and health coverage and all this stuff. It makes it very easy. They go to India anyway for holidays. It makes it easy if they can see an example of some of our schools in India, you know, and so for that reason too, we would be very much interested in opening up a couple of schools there. So let us discuss that. It would be very good.
Ma'am, I'd like to know one thing. What are the incentives that you are giving to the children that are who are coming to be educated in your school? Do you give some sort of incentive like food, or subsidize with their books, copies, and dresses, anything like that?
What we do, like that? You know, Amarok Society, because we're an organization that really pinches pennies. So we don't teach a mother unless she's agreed to teach 5 children every day. For, you know, and so she has to give a lot of hours. For the children, we don't give incentives. They do get pencils and pens and notebooks, but we don't do anything beyond that. And even when they go to secondary school on their own, we don't give scholarships. And what we found is that these children who graduate from the mother's micro school are able to get jobs in shops or by tutoring one way or another, and they are able to become very self-sufficient and sustain their own education themselves, and very oftentimes contribute to their family, even when they're just in early secondary.
There is a long-term planning. Suppose a children who comes at the age of 6 or 7, and he becomes graduate at the age of 25 or 26, so is a gap of about 18-19 years. So during this period, 18-19 years, if they get some sort of subsidies like in terms of money or food, they will be encouraged to read and write. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, it really is true, and the answer is no, we don't do that. Education in and of itself is the reward, and we don't do that. We can't compete with World Vision, Plan, Care. These are massive organizations. So we give our money very directly to people who really want it. And yeah,
okay,
you know, we'd love to.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
প্রেসিডেন্ট সাহেব, খুব ভালো লাগলো আপনার এই সেশনটা শুনে, রিয়েলি খুবই ভালো লাগলো। উই আর রিয়েলি থ্যাঙ্কফুল টু ইউ and thankful to আমাদের বিমলদা who encouraged us to join this meeting. বিমলদা কে থ্যাংক ইউ। আমাদের খুব ভালো লাগলো মিটিংটা।
ওকে, জয়েন করবেন।
নিশ্চয়ই বিমলদা, খুব ভালো লাগলো।
ওদের মধ্যে আছেন our senior most, I mean the Rotarians present now, so the senior most is Rotarian Irfanul Haq Chaudhary. So if we could request him to speak a few words. Irfanul Haq Chaudhary. Are you there?
Just a minute. No, please.
Yes. Rotarian Irfanul Haq Chaudhary. Technology sometimes makes you dependent. For people like Irfanul Haq Chaudhary, I keep on telling him that it has been a great opportunity for him to get connected with his grandchildren, because he needs support, and whenever he faces any problem, so he asks for the help of his grandchildren. So I say that it's a great opportunity actually to for interaction between the generations. Yes, please, Rotary and Final Hub Choudhury.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আসলে আমি তো একদম বলতে গেলে সব খেয়ে হারাই ফেলি, কথা বলতে গেলে খেয়ে হারাই ফেলি। আর আমি রোটারির সাথে অনেকদিন পর জয়েন করছি, তো আসলে এখনো ঠিকভাবে আমি ধরতে পারছি না জিনিসটা। আমি রোটারিতে ছিলাম, কিন্তু রোটারিতে মিটিংয়ে জয়েন করিনি। এই মিটিং জয়েন করার মধ্যে কয়েকদিন করলাম।
So he is getting used to using this Zoom. So
Yes.
we have a similar word in our language which is pronounced as Jum. Jum is a way of cultivation in the hills. So we have been doing it in the hills for a long time, from time immemorial. But now that this Zoom has come into being in the world, now it is spread all over the world. So we have graduated from Zoom to Zoom. Okay, for being with us. Now I would like to get back to Rotary Choudhury. So I would like him to take over.
Thank you, our Honorable Rotarian President, Mr. Naik. Now I would request our past Assistant Governor and member of National Polio Plus Committee, Rotarian Dr. Bimal Choudhury, to propose the vote for thanks.
Thank you.
Dr.
Good evening to you all and welcome everyone. Tonight's our program on Teach a Mother, Change the World has been a great success, I think. We are very much grateful to have all of you here with us this evening. I am especially grateful and thanks to Dr. Tanyss Munro, who joined from Canada and give us a nice deliberation regarding the teaching of the mother. I express my thanks to Dr. Maksud, chairman of the PETC, who is working with us previously also, and Dr. Nafisa, who has spent their time and talent to join with us. So we are very much grateful and thanks to them. And I also thanks our event chair, Jalaluddin Mohammed Soeb, and moderator, our president, and our Rotarian Shamir, and our Bodhi, Rotarian Jayanto from abroad, and Rotarian man Madhumita Vishnu, also joined from Calcutta. I express our thanks to them, and I express thanks to Mr. Kuntal, who is working with Amarok, and all our members, and mainly our Rotarian Asanbai, who joined from New York and is most dedicated and vibrant Rotarian in our club. So thank you, Asanbai, and I thanks all other members also. At last but not the least, I want to thank you all for joining this Zoom meeting. So thank you all again. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Honorable fellow Rotarian Dr. Bimal Choudhury. Now, with the permission of the chair of the event, I hereby announce the closure of the event. All the best to you all. Stay safe, stay blessed, and stay connected. Good night. See you again.
Good night.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you once again.
Okay. Thank you, Asher, and all of you for joining. So now you can unmute yourself. আমরা একটু কথাবার্তা বলতে পারি।
আমরা একটু please keep some time. Close the room.
Okay, now floor is open for all.
Yes.
Azan bhai আছে
Maksud bhai, thanks a lot for joining.
Sure.
ভালো হয়েছে আপনার
আপনাদের ভালো লাগছে।
মাকসুদ ভাই ঠিক আছে, আপনার কোশ্চেন আসবে আরেকবার।
এখন তো মকসুদ ভাই জড়াই গেলেন, মকসুদ ভাই তো জড়াই গেলেন আজকে সকালে উঠে।
আমরা কিন্তু নানান ভাবে আমরা মানে মাদার এন্ড চাইল্ড হেলথ এগুলি নিয়েই আছি, কিন্তু মানে রোটারি ক্লাব কর্পোরেশন
এই ওদের সাথে কাজ করলে খারাপ না, একসাথে কোঅর্ডিনেটেড ওয়ার্ক করলে একটু ভালো। যেহেতু ওদের একটা বেস আছে ওখানে, তো ইজিলি আমরা আবার একসাথে কাজ করতে পারি ইজিলি।
We have
to expand our operation.
We can always think big, but start small.
মাকসুদ ভাই আপনি কি ওইটা এমইউটা পেয়েছেন? সাইন্ড এমইউ?
হ্যাঁ ওটা পাইছি, কিন্তু তোমার এই লিংক তো আজকে পাইনি আমরা, এই জন্য ওয়াসিম জয়েন করতে পারে নাই।
কেন এটা ইনভিটেশন লেটার দিলাম তো আমরা।
আমাদের কাছে আসে নাই সম্ভব।
আমি তো আপনাদের দুজনকে ইমেল পাঠিয়েছি,
আমরা পাই নাই, যার জন্য আমি আবার হাসান ভাই থেকে নিয়েছি সকালবেলা।
আমি তো তাও আপনাকে দিতে পারলাম না, ওই মুখে দিয়েছি, আপনি দেখে
মুখে দিচ্ছেন, ওটা দিয়ে কাজ হয়েছে আমার।
কিন্তু আমি তো আগে ইমেল পাঠিয়েছি, আপনাকে পাঠিয়েছি, ওয়াসিম ভাইকেও পাঠিয়েছি। না আরেকটা হতে পারে ওই মাসুদ ভাই, অনেক সময় কিন্তু স্প্যামে চলে যায়,
মেবি
সেটা হয়ে থাকতে পারে।
আপনি জাঙ্কে দেখবেন, জাঙ্ক
ভাই যা এত খারাপ করে বলেন কেন, আমরা কি জাঙ্ক নাকি? আপনি জাঙ্কে দেখতে বলছেন
ভাই, আমরা জাঙ্কে দেখছিস তো, খুব জাঙ্ক ফুড খাই তো।
We are just trying to pull one another to play.
আপনার ওই এক্সপ্লেনেশনটা খুব ভালো লাগছে, জুম এক্সপ্লেনেশন, তারপরে পারের মধ্যে জুমে যায়
না। মাকসুদ ভাই আমরা তো ওর স্কুলের মানুষ স্কুলেতে যেতে পারতাম না, এই সময়ও ছিল না, কক্সবাজার গেল বা আপনি যান বা আমি যাই, এখানে বসে নিউ ইয়র্কে বসে স্কুলে চলে গেলাম, ওই যে মহিলা দেখালো না। আরেকটা জিনিস আমার একটা ভালো লাগছে যে মনরোর যেটা শুনে দেখেন, সে একটা